Lemon Amiga presents a Playguide video review. Sit back and enjoy the show.
Come on then, Charlie. Oh, deliciously done. Delicious. Can I compliment you on that landing?
Well, a man who prides himself on his driving, I take that as a great compliment.
Wonderful. Come on in, you lot.
This, of course, is...
Get Fresh. This is Charlotte Hindle.
And, of course, this is Gaz.
And we are the Vicious Boys.
And what? Oh, right. Out the way, Charlotte. God, good grief, Charlotte. That landing was a bit smoky. Charlotte, would you look?
I think I went overboard.
Oh, wow. Look at the balloons.
I can't see where I am.
Look at the balloons.
Hey, what? Is that a Perrier bottle? What's that in the background?
There's all kinds of stuff.
A little
There's lots going on, isn't it?
Hey there, in this Lemon Playguide we'll be checking out StarGlider, developed by Argonaut Software and published by Rainbird in 1987. Background music that you can hear was created by Dave Law and it's called Games, and that was also released on the Dave Law album. You can see as we leave the title credits to roll, we can see all the guys that were involved with this. Jez San, who of course went on to StarGlider 2 in 1989, and Richard Clucas as well also co-created the graphics. By pressing F1 on that title screen we can also check out some options as well, and from here we can most importantly redefine the control keys, and there you can redefine the fire key for firing the missile, and remap the keys to a keypad as well, controller, and we can also select one-handed mode for using the mouse, and we can also select a fixed sight and also center the crosshair as well, and also switch on and off the music and speech. This is also where we get to see those high scores, and that's the only place you'll get to see them in the game. So, starting up a brand new game, this is footage for me wandering about, not having a clue what to do, but the aim is actually to knock out StarGlider 1, which is a bird which is flying around just like this one, only it's orange, and you have to knock that out once you've got a certain score, and that completes the level. And in this game the object is to fly around a planet's surface and to destroy various things that you encounter using your missiles, and by pressing the L key you can also fire a forward missile as well, in which case we've got one.
Missile launched.
After you've fired that forward missile, it will then maneuver its way to the target. This is manual control, and using that manual control camera you can then blow it up, but ordinarily you can blow everything else away with these lasers. You can see the map is a 99 by 99 square on the bottom of that screen. Later on other scenarios the enemies will become harder and they will fire more on target. You can see, checking out the radar, there's the score in the top corner. and the compass reading and the heading, and also the points from the last enemy as well. We've got 200, and on the bottom you can see the grid reference, and also the speed and the altitude, the number of missiles that we've got left, the left and the right thrust angle, but also more importantly the rear and the forward shield, and also the fuel as well. As we jet around this landscape, we'll take energy and that will be knocked off the fuel, and also as we fire the lasers as well, so even if there's nothing to kill us flying around, we'll deplete one of those. We'll have to pick them up as we go around the game itself. So let's fast forward to a gameplay where I did actually know what I was supposed to do, and we will be playing one whole level of this game. That's what I managed to record, and at the very start I like to gain air superiority by taking out one of these StarGlider things that will also fly over the silos. And those silos are very important later on because we'll have to fly into them and get a recharge. At the moment all of our systems start out full. And you can see various things, walkers as well, and almost everything can be destroyed with the forward lasers. And you can see some hits have already been taken on our energy by flying around and firing them, so you only got a limited time to destroy things before we'll have to get a recharge. And the inhabitants of this landscape, I'm still going for those birds, and they don't pose too much of a threat, particularly at this point on this first level. They'll fire lasers towards us, so they're just as powerful as the ground lasers. You can see the red ones, and at the moment I'm just trying to get rid of them, and then they don't appear again for the rest of the level, because the enemies don't respawn in this game. But because it's a 99 times 99 grid, it means that you'll be flying around a huge area and you'll be using teleports as well, and that means usually things won't respawn, but things will move in from other areas. So just when you think you've got rid of everything, a load of walkers will track you down and they will congregate around the energy recharge points, so that makes a big difference. At the moment I'm still going for these air units, and you can see when we get directly behind them they do a bit of a waggle and it takes forever to blow them up, and if they are firing towards us they can fire a stream of missiles, which really does take its toll. So let's try to get rid of this. And you can see those ground-based guns as well. With every laser hit will take some damage. And these yellow things are actually mines. If you move anywhere into the proximity of them, they'll blow us up, so you want to get rid of them as a top priority. And the blue thing on the bottom that looks like a cheese, that's one of our friendly silos. We'll have to move into that a bit later on. But for now you can see these red cubes reminding us of the Star Wars game. Let's move into that silo, and once we move in through the docking sequence, which is automatic, we will get a chance to load up on some missiles, and lasers and shields are now replenished, and we can also press the space bar to launch, and we can also press the I key to check out the docking computer. From here we can check out all of the enemies that appear in the game, and again on level 2, level 3, level 4 they simply become harder and they fire on target. On this first level they also fire on target, but usually will wander into enemy fire by mistake. All of these enemies will fire towards us usually, so you'll have to check out them and you'll have to figure out how best to kill them. And there'll be tanks on the screen as well, and missiles and fighters, which one just blown up, and a stomper as well, otherwise known as a walker. And we've got an extremely fast skim fighter as well, and a judo cannon. The cannons are perhaps one of the most deadly aspects of this game, and definitely if you're facing a cannon, take that out from arm's distance. And there is also pyramid rocket launchers as well, which we'll have to avoid, and the StarGlider one. This will be running away from us at the start of every level, but as we deplete the defences of the planet's core, that will move closer and closer to us, so once we've accumulated enough points that should be in our vicinity, we should fall off that and blow it up. So at the very start of the game, if you find that and blow it up, you can't get any score for that, and it won't take us on to the next level. You have to get so many points in the bank, and I think you need at least maybe 4,000 points before you can go for StarGlider 1 to finish off this level. You can see once again, getting behind those enemies, it means they manoeuvre and do a bit of a waggle like a wiggly worm, and they can't fire at us as long as we are directly behind them, and using this method it's possible to even get them on a chain and follow their flight path, and that means we can blow them all up. And you can see our energy is also taking a dive, and that's because of these pyramid missile towers. And those are quite deadly, and those take quite a lot of shots as well. At this point I'm reserving my forward missiles for the walkers, and those really do benefit from an air to surface missile, and those things in the distance, they're actually recharge points. At certain points in the game we will find ourselves with low energy, and usually when my energy level bottoms out maybe to below halfway, I like to try to make my way to the energy recharge points, and you can see energy refueling there, energy cells, so we're getting more energy for doing that. And those are kind of obelisks. You get 2 obelisks, you fly between those and you face 1 obelisk, and basically if you fly between them you get an energy recharge. We're doing alright for shields because we went into the silo, and you can see all of these missiles, we can blow them up, and we can blow up the enemy as well, and these enemy tanks, once they get a lock on, are very dangerous, and I think it is even possible to blow up these things as well, are energy recharge points, so it's best to avoid those. What I like to do at the very start of the game, looking at the radar, is to find ourselves where the silos are. Here we go, this is another one, and then to defend that to the hilt. And you can see in this particular case with grid reference 1188, so that's where we are on the map. There's a mine there on the horizon, and there's kind of a Lotus missile ejection thing as well. And once we get into this thing, I think we can press the button to get some more missiles, but when we appear on the other end you can see we're now flying, and we're now grid reference 688, we're flying over another one. That means we have actually moved location on the map. Yes, those cheeses that you see dotted around the landscape, those silos, there's another one. Those are actually teleport points, and every time you move through them you actually reappear on a different part of the map. And that means when you re-emerge you're still going to have to take down most of the things. You can see no more blue flying things, but once you take them down, just because you've destroyed everything around one of those doesn't mean to say you've destroyed them forever, because you'll be teleporting yourself around the map every time you want to recharge those shields. So you can see that we're miles away from grid reference 11 where we were before, and now we're out of control in the middle of nowhere. But even out in the middle of nowhere it rewards us with an energy recharge point. There's more than one per level, maybe there are 4 or 5 of them, I'm not quite sure, and maybe they are random or maybe they're fixed. But the thing is, you have to go very slowly. You can see our speed on the right hand side. If our speed is just above or on the line of that marker which marks the speed, then it is possible to get a recharge from it. Unless we are directly in the middle of that thing, we won't get a thing, so we'll have to make sure that we are in the middle of those 2 obelisk points and directly lined up. This is not speeded up footage, this is actually me trying to get back there. This ship does move very quickly, but you have to slow down. If you move too quickly you won't get a thing, and if you're not on a line you won't get anything either. You can see that walker is now about to gun us down with a hail of missiles. We don't really want to shoot at the energy recharge point, but as long as we stay on this trajectory, hopefully we can shoot down those missiles and recharge at the same time. and as soon as I've got maybe 3/4 or almost full, I'm going to have to leg it because that walker is too strong for me, even though we've got 2 missiles. Now every blue thing on the horizon is a friendly. Some of those are dark blue tanks, and some of those you can see some archways. They don't appear to do anything, and this game reminds me of kind of Mercenary and of course Battle Zone, Atari Battle Zone. This is kind of a flying battle zone. And we can adjust our height as well by holding down a mouse button, and that isn't particularly easy to get used to the flight controls of this game. By holding down the mouse button and moving forwards, we can accelerate, so that means that we can get back into that tunnel, and I think our supplies of missiles are infinite, so we really should be using those every single time. And that means that we get some more. I think if you press the M key, I think maybe you're supposed to get some missiles, but I think that's also supposed to be automatic as well, so hopefully you shouldn't have to press any buttons whatsoever. But don't forget, the aim of this game, or at least the aim of these levels, is to destroy as much as possible, and we've now got, well, 3,000 score, so it won't be very long now before we have enough tackled to go for the big end of level boss, and that again is hidden on the map. You will fall over it if you go looking for it, but it will find us once we've got enough score. So the hardest part is definitely getting that energy recharge, and we're on a different grid reference now, so we don't have a walker gunning us down at this point. But definitely when I tried to play this game back in the day, I hadn't got a clue what to do. I just shot things and blew things up, and like most of these 3D games, the explanation is pretty straightforward, and just shoot things and then shoot the end of level guardian. And I never knew that back in the day, and I had to look up all of the walkthroughs. And if you look up this game on the Lemon Amiga database, you'll actually find a guide that I've written, a solution to this game. I think it's called Solution, and if you click on that, that will explain everything that goes on the screen and everything you're supposed to do about everything. And basically you can see what you're supposed to do as soon as you get too many hits on those shields. I'm not quite sure which is the forward and which is the rear shield, and you get a huge boost when you enter it, and then you get a minor boost when you're leaving it as well. And so here we go, we've managed to find ourselves to grid reference 9285 at the moment, so this is unknown territory. It means we're going to have to fight all kinds of enemies all over again, but I think these airborne ones are particularly easy, and obviously the mines don't put up any defence, so if you stay out of trouble and avoid the walkers, hopefully there's no need to tackle them, and they will walk all over the map to your last known location. That's me blowing myself up on a mine, and that means we take on some damage. Luckily it's not a one-shot kill, and nothing in this game fires on target, at least not on the first level. So I do have lots and lots of respect for this game now that I've learned how to play it, and it's just to go around shooting things as you would expect, and that's a good thing. And finding where the recharge points is can be frantic, looking around for those, and maybe you can write those coordinates down, or maybe what I like to do is actually return back through the teleportal that I've just travelled through, and that will take me back to the landscape that I've just left. That means if you cleared the zone all the way around these recharge points, it should still be clear unless some tanks have rolled in and things like that, and that means you can defend an area and sweep and clear it rather than beam your way all over the landscape and have to put up with all the enemies all over again. So definitely that's a top tip, just return back and hopefully it will return us back to that same place. And definitely defending the recharge points is an easy way to get that score. Speaking of score, we only managed to get 4 scores, one of those, and the lowest one happens to be from the Lemon Amiga website. People didn't understand and have a clue how to play it, so they gave it 62%. Commodore User awarded this 70%, Daytona Magazine gave it 80%, and Armed with the Manual, ACAR, awarded this 96%. So that means it gets an average score of 77, which I'm going to round down to 7.5 out of 10. Well, on the Amiga I'm playing it safe at the moment, and once those shields get halfway down it's time to find your way to the next one, and it can take some time to do that. So if you do that and get on with that straight away, hopefully. I've definitely been on a knife edge before where I haven't got any shields left, virtually, and one more hit will be right off. And it's easy to blow up our teleport points thinking it's a tank. But you can see we are now getting through the enemies. They are disappearing off that landscape. And again, these red blocks remind me of Star Wars, the second level of Star Wars, where we had to blow them up, and the walkers from Empire Strikes Back. So this is an open world landscape, it's huge, and you will get lots of things that you have to blow up, and I think it works. Maybe it works even better on an Amiga 1200, I'm not quite sure. And you can see virtually everything on the radar, everything in front of us has some aspect to it. So, wow, if you see any of those pink things, avoid those at all costs, because that means, well, we'll take a heck of a lot of damage. And flying away from those, guess what, takes energy, and now we're using up energy, we need to find an energy recharge point again. So the title music was created by Dave Lowe, not David Lowe, who created music for the Really Wild Show on the BBC, as I've said in earlier reviews. No, this is Dave Lowe, as in Uncle Art, who released his album pretty recently, which he Kickstart funded, which I backed. And Dave Lowe, infinite respect for him, he also created the music for our one and only documentary, Amiga the Quantum Leap. So if you type Amiga the Quantum Leap into YouTube, hopefully you'll find that. The volume is ridiculously low on it, but apart from that, it's my documentary about the Amiga. So Dave Lowe created the title music for this and that, so hats off to him. And I really do, as I say, have lots of respect for this game that I never had back in the day, simply armed with the fact of how to play it. And that simple task, even when you know how to play it, isn't easy, because, well, number one, you could be shot, number two, walkers can home in on our signal and they can turn up at any time, and number three, if we are trying to rush it, or if we aren't lined up, or something like that, we'll get nothing. So you have to be as slow as possible to get the maximum, and yes, it is possible if you've just got a sliver of energy left. It is actually possible to get a full recharge if you're moving slowly enough from that energy recharge point. So running on empty, it is possible to recharge. So we're now getting towards the end of this, we're now heading towards 5,000 points. So hopefully definitely at 5,000 points, and we'll have a clue what the actual target is that you need to achieve. And I'm guessing 5,000, maybe 4,000 is enough on this very first level, but it would seem to make sense now that I think about it that 5,000 would make more sense, because then, guess what, it means we only have to aim for 10,000 on the second level, and etc. So you can see I'm still avoiding those pink things at all costs, and the yellow things as well, and we're back to defending the area, so there isn't too much in the sky at the moment, and hopefully if we chase after those things it doesn't take too much, but those things also fly in the flight path of those huge big towers that fire towards us, so sometimes it's pretty difficult. Those also fire backwards as well. So here's the StarGlider. It's a big orange bird. There's only one orange ship in the entire game. You have to knock it out with missiles. We've got 2 of them. Let's fire our missiles. It's great to hear those voice speech sound effects. And once we blow this up, we've got over 5,000 score now, so hopefully now it should be possible to move on to that second level. I'm not going to survive very much once that happens.
Missile launched.
Unfortunately, I'm not quite sure if I missed the StarGlider or whether it takes 2. Perhaps it even takes 2 missiles to blow it up, and that's absolutely possible in this game. Unfortunately, I've just lost where it is. so I can't find it anymore, and the missiles now run out of fuel. So everything on the landscape moves a lot more quickly now that we've blown a lot of things up, and we appear to have blown up the StarGlider, but we haven't, unfortunately. There it is, StarGlider 1. I've no idea why it's called that, and every time we attack the StarGlider, of course, it will wipe out half of our energy running around after that at high speed. So every time we attack it, we're going to have to recharge all over again. You're going to have to master this, just like other games that we've seen. And Warhead, where we had to master getting into that space station constantly. In this game you have to master recharging constantly, so you can zip in and out and then get on with that shooting action. We're going to risk it. We're not going to get some shields unless we fall over them, which we have done, and that's a great feature. Sometimes you'll fall over those things, and hopefully they should be on that radar as well. But now that we've got over 5,000 points, you'll also notice that the StarGlider is hanging around us a lot more, and I think if you get over 6,000 it'll even follow us and track us around the map. So I'm not getting anywhere at the moment in this particular grid location, and you can see we can shoot these starflower things and they won't do us too much harm at this point. And ordinarily I'm just scooping up score at this point for no apparent reason, and the enemies are still demolishing us, and that's a really great effect, which was, well, when it came out on an Amiga 500 open world shooter like this, reminding us of Mercenary and things like that. It was amazing and it could do a lot. Even though this came out for full price, if you understood the game it could actually do a lot, and once you start clearing away those enemies it's fantastic. And Tony Rainbird, I think that is a UK company, but Argonaut Software was founded by Jez San in Edgware in London, so Jez San is definitely English, and Argonaut Software was founded primarily for this game. Here we go, this is the StarGlider 1 again. We've got one missile.
Missile launched.
So let's hope that counts. You can see SG1 can also fire backwards, so what I like to do is fire my missile and aim at an angle and run in at the last minute. That will now take us on to level 2 without too much of a fanfare, and that will respawn the enemies all over again, who will now shoot on target, and so you're going to have an action plan right from the go, otherwise you'll find yourself unfortunately being blown up. So what I'm doing is destroying these mine layers. They don't fire back towards us, I don't think, but they will lay mines all over the level, which you've seen are pretty hard. And at this time the battle zone aspect of us shooting everything that moves and firing off our missiles, of which we don't have any at the moment. And look at that, these things are being defended by plasma towers, which is the worst thing possible, because you have to shoot the ammo as well as shoot the tower, and it takes maybe 10 shots on target to get rid of that, unless you're using the missiles, and it takes an infinite amount when you're sat there waiting for it to blow up.
Damage alert.
Hence that's why I'm running now towards some kind of shield recharge if I can only find that. And just my luck, whatever blue things there are on the map, they're probably going to be tanks. And that wasn't skip footage, it appears that I've died. So at this point I've no idea whether it makes things rarer or not, but I don't think so. So that's my high score. I managed to get 14,005, which is a new high score, and I've never seen this on the internet being completed before. So you also get a hit rating as well, and hit accuracy percentage 39%, so that isn't very good. So we now enter our name. Again, if you press F1, that's where we actually get to see our name on those high scores, and you can see on this WHD version it will actually save those as well. So thank you for viewing this game, and we'll see you again in another one sometime soon. Thank you.